Okay, so we've got a fair amount of variety of enemies, but we still don't actually know how our combat encounters work out. And you know what? As I've said previously with our last video, we're gonna have this elite enemy that's gonna be the center of the combat, and then we're gonna have these grunt enemies that come in during the fight. But we can't have them all come in at once, otherwise you're gonna have to go through all of them or be overwhelmed. And then once you've killed all of them, you don't have any backups to go and possess if you get damaged. So in order to make this work, what we need to do is to create a spawner. So we're gonna go with a new scene, and I think we're gonna make this just a node 2D, and we can name it our spawner. So then we can save it, we'll go into scenes, and we will go into enemies, save it here, and we're going to start off by adding a script to it. I'm going to go exploit array int var enemy type and expected. Oh wait, sorry, this can't be capital, so we'll just have that. Now we've got this array, and we can increase the size, and we've got these integers we can change around to whatever we need. And this is just going to be for our enemy type. We're also going to make an export. Actually, what we'll do is we can just do Control D here twice. Then we're going to make X offset and delay. And I'm thinking what we'll do is, instead of making it, we will have it that some enemies will spawn when there's no enemies around, but that'll be handled somewhere else. Otherwise we're just going to have it that enemies spawn after a certain amount of time, so you can't be too slow. So then we're just going to have these match, so whatever we have here, let's say we want it to spawn 2 enemies, then we're going to make this have the size of 2, and then let's say we want an enemy type 1, then an enemy type 8, then we're going to set an X offset of -3 and 8, and then we've got our delay, which we will create 2, and we'll have like 1.8 seconds and 2.9 or something. Yeah, I guess that's rounded to 3. Is there anything we want in decimals? So we might want to change this into float instead. I'm going to say delay will make float. X offset we should be fine, so it can just be decimals now. Save it. Try this again. Okay, yeah. So, here we have our basic variables, which it will take some time to set these up for each of them all the time, but it's kind of just how it's going to work. So then, I'm going to have func ready, and already we're going to go var timer is equal to timer.new, and then timer.connect timeout with self, and it's going to connect to our spawn enemy timeout function, which we haven't made yet. Then self.add child timer and timer.start, and I'm just going to move this to here, and we'll do if enemy type.size is bigger than 0, then we'll do this. And this just gets our array size, so you know, if it has something in it. And we'll do timer.wait time is equal to delay dot front. And we'll actually do pop front, because that way it also deletes it. Okay, so then now what we can do is func spawn enemy timeout, and we'll actually go of our current enemy is equal to null, of our current offset is equal to null. And then in here we can do current enemy is equal to enemy type dot pop front, and current offset is equal to x offset dot pop front. Let's do pass. What do we want to put in here? Let me just space these out a bit better. And we'll go if current enemy is not equal to null, and current offset is not equal to null. Then we'll do if current enemy is equal to 1 pass, and that should be about it. Let's create some constants. We'll put right here. So we can const what do we call them? Clone is equal to preload clone.tscn. Const marksman is equal to preload marksman. Marksman.tscn. Const jetpacker is equal to preload jetpacker.tscn. And should we put a time on the pylon walker? I will. We'll make it constant. So const pylon walker is equal to preload pylon. Oh, okay. Pylon walker.tscn. Let's separate these, because we're gonna have our basic enemies here, and then any more advanced enemies we'll put in like a different bit here. So if current enemy is equal to 1, then var clone is equal to clone.instance. Actually, we'll make a function which like func add enemy, and we'll do enemy constant. So var enemy is equal to enemy constant dot instance, and then self dot add child enemy dot global position is equal to self dot global position plus vector 2 x offset and 0. Then is there anything else we need? I don't believe so. So we'll do, instead of this, we'll have add enemy clone. Then we can do elif current enemy is equal to 2, add enemy marksman, elif current enemy is equal to 3, add enemy jetpacker, and we won't bother with the pylon marker yet. But at the end of this, we're going to go current enemy is equal to null, current offset is equal to null, and then here we're going to do ready again. So we're going to go through this. And yeah, let's instance this in and just find out what happens. So just gonna make this have a size of 1 for now. We'll give it an enemy type 1. And we don't need this to have anything, but we do need it to have a size of 1 at least. And then our delay will be 1. Actually, we'll make it 2. I'm just going to use the arrow keys to position this over here. And then now we can run. See what happens. And we've got an error. Invalid type infector 2 constructor. That is because we used the wrong variable. So we gotta use current offset. And I've accidentally put in a space here. So we can run the game, hopefully it works this time. Yeah, we've got a clone that just spawns in. Okay, so then now, let's try and add in a couple more. Make it size 3, and we'll do 2, 3. We'll make this have a size of 3, and we'll do like 20, -5. Have this make a size of 3, and we'll do 0.1, because that's basically how we can make it that enemies spawn at the same time, is just have a really short difference in this. And then we can do 2. So let's play. Oh, and they all seem to spawn at like, I don't know, that 2 was definitely not it. I thought pop, they went do front instead of pop front. I make this something ridiculous like 10, because I don't know. Yeah, they're all spawning at once, which is not good. So this gets looped through once. Oh, we need to do timer.oneShot is equal to true. That's definitely going to be needed. And then what? Not sure. Let me just rerun this again. You know what? No, it seems to be working now. I'll just wait and see if our jetpacker gets spawned in. Which they did. So yeah, we just need to change it to 1-shot. And now we've got, well, kind of we've got an enemy spawner, but it, you know, it's pretty rough transitions. So we're gonna want to change this around a bit. And by doing, well, so what we're gonna do to do that is open each of our enemies. So clone, jetpacker, and marksman, we're still not gonna bother with. What was that last one? Oh, just our spawner. So, go into our clone. Then we're gonna add in an animation player. And we're just gonna call this spawn animator. And we're gonna have a default. Actually, we'll just rename this to spawn. Then in here, what we'll do is after 0.5, we key that in. I just want to have it fade in. Thinking we'll change this to 1. Then we'll also add in a timer. We'll put it under our spawn animator. Call this spawn time, one shot. I think I'm gonna change this to 2. Then I'll make a spawn time 2 as well. So we'll go into our physics process, and we'll also do and money spawn time dot is stopped. And then where is our attack range? We'll do and money spawn time dot is stopped. I think that's all we need. Oh yeah, we also gotta change their damage. So then we'll grab all of this, tab it forward, and do if money spawn time dot is. Actually, wait. Yeah, we will do if money dot spawn time is stopped for this, but we also are going to want to go into our spawn animator, and we will queue in its collision layer, and then in here we're going to key in that it is no collision layer. And we'll actually make this a little earlier. So we're gonna put this in already for now, even though we'll move it around in a second. So func ready money dot spawn animator dot play spawn money dot spawn time dot start. Okay, and then we'll go back into here, and we'll reduce this back to 1, and this back to 1, and this back to 1. So we'll go into game, and let's see if they fade in. Yes, but they start out a little too faded in. I'm gonna make it that it's actually gonna be automatically happen all the time, so we'll set this to autoplay. And we'll set this to auto start, and then we'll get rid of this. I was thinking we were gonna make it separate and we're only gonna trigger the spawn stuff for when we spawn them, but if we wanted to add in them ahead of the room, then when you enter a room that happens, but considering it's only 2 seconds, we can just make it that the player has to wait a little farther back. So how far are they off the ground? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. So go to our node, move our spawner down to here. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do minus 0.5. And now let's run it and see if it looks like they're coming in from somewhere underground. Now we just gotta do that with our jetpacker and clone. Are we gonna have any flying enemies besides the jetpacker? Probably not. I don't think I'm going to change anything, because we can have multiple spawners in the same place and we can just move them around wherever we need. So if we want the jetpack in the air, we can just do that. But I'm going to make it that in our spawner, I'm going to go minus 5.5, just because that way we don't have to move it precisely over anything, and we can just have it like right on whatever surface we want our enemy to spawn on. And there we have it. So Now all we need to do is add in our spawn stuff to both the jetpacker and the marksman. So we'll add in an animator, and we'll call this spawn animator, spawn autoplay 2 seconds long, and we'll key in its modulate. Then we'll key in its collision layer, and when it has no collision. Is that all we did for the clone? I feel like I'm missing something. No, okay, it was a little earlier we said its collision be able to collide. I think I'm gonna make it happen at 1.7. Yeah. Let's drag this back. And then now we can add in another timer. Spawn time. And this way, if we want to have like bulkier enemies, we can give them, or like enemies that attack faster, we can give them higher spawn time so that they don't catch the player too off guard. Let's go into script and money spawn time dot is start. And then and money spawn time dot is dot. And then here we'll move all this stuff forward. If money spawn time dot is stopped. Go into our spawner and we'll add 2 more for when we test out the marksman. We'll enemy type 3 and we'll make it like 9 off and get a delay of 2 seconds as well. And something's terribly wrong. Oh, I forgot a colon. Yeah, just gotta stop this from running and click play again. And the jetpacker was moving despite the fact that they were not meant to be spawned yet. Is that a problem? I don't really know. What we'll do is we'll just kind of see if they damage us. They do, which is surprising. Because I haven't set it to auto start, so we gotta go into our jetpacker and set this to auto start. And now let's see what happens. Okay, yeah, they wait a bit. So now we just gotta go into our marksman, add in an animator. We'll call this spawn animator, what a surprise. And we can drag it up to the top, add in a timer, call this spawn time. One shot, auto start, 2 seconds long. Drag it up under our spawn animator, do new, spawn, autoplay, 2 seconds long. We'll start off by keying in our modulate. And then we can key in our collision. And make sure you're keying in the layer and not the mask. Yeah. And then if it's 0, it's not going to spawn any enemy. So yeah, but we'll change this to 2. This can be -10, and this can be 1. So let's try it out. Yeah, so you do have an advantage on these enemies definitely when they're spawning. Gives you lots of time to prepare for when they're not moving, and then, well, yeah, it's fairly easy to kill them. They weren't ever too hard beforehand, and whoa. That is an interesting bug. Let's see about fixing that. So we'll open our player possess mode, and I guess what we did is we possessed 2 enemies at the same time. So we went into their areas at the exact same time. What we're just gonna do is we're gonna go var has possessed is equal to false. Then go and has possessed is equal to false, and then has possessed is equal to true. That should fix it. So we'll try and see if we can recreate it, although we might not be able to. Okay. It seems like it's pretty good now. Yeah, I really hate this color for the player, I gotta say. It looks like such a dirty yellow. Let's see if we can change that a bit. Go into our body, let's look for our possession type process. We got marksman is this color. Copy and paste it in here. I'm just going to drag this a little more to the yellow, make it a little more saturated, drag it a little backwards, and I think this is much better. It doesn't contrast with the mask as much, but it doesn't look like piss, so that's a positive. I'm just going to copy paste this into here so we've got our default gray. Yeah, I just want to see how that looks. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, so is there anything else we really need with this spawner? We could set it up to be with the pylon walker. I don't even know if we're gonna use them though. I kinda just put that constant in just cause. So that's really it, actually. And then, yeah. One thing is, do we need a visual effect to make things a little more clear? Because my idea is that it's just like they were somewhere in the background and they just kind of come forward. Maybe we should scale them a little, but I don't know. I don't think that's really needed. We could make a shader that makes them look like kind of like holograms being teleported in. So if we have them spawn in, I can make a little animation for that. Where they spawn in as a hologram. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that quickly. So now I've made a new asset, and we can go ahead and drag in this new body file. And we'll turn off filter, re-import that, and then what we can do is we'll start off by going into our player, and we'll have to, will we drag this in? So drag this in, and we'll reset all the frames. We'll zoom out a lot. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9 by 8 frames. Now what we just do is go into our animation player. Is this all we have? Oh, we had more. But yeah, all these still line up correctly. So I put the animation at the end of the sprite sheet so that all the frames at the start for our animations wouldn't have to be rekeyed in. If I had put the animation at the start, then it would have moved everything else forward and we would have had to go through everything, the animations, and do it all again. And yeah, so that's something to keep in mind if you're making your own sprite sheets, is to just put in new animations at the end. Now we can go into our clone, drag in our new body, change this to 9x8, and same with our jetpacker. That's not the body sprite that got selected, so 9x8. And then, don't need anything more of him. Drag this over here. That's all we need right now. I'm gonna close some of these, so we don't need them. Let's reset there. Modulate. Body sprite. Drag in this. 9x8. And now we're gonna go into our clone. And we can go into here. I'm gonna make this 0.08. And what frame do we need this to be? Let me try it here so we can see what's going on. Let's go to something like 80. Well, that's a little high, I guess. Yeah, so we're starting at frame 56, which we will key in. Let's go up a frame, keying them in. Yeah. And then we will reset it to our default frame. And we can drag these forward by 1, 2. I'm going to drag it back by 1. And this is not actually the correct frame. What frame do we need? 3. Okay, and then what I want to do is in our mask sprite, we're going to key it to be modulated fully at the end. And until this has been done for a frame, I'm just going to have an alpha of 0. We'll go back to the start and key that in as well. Let's have a look at that. I do like it, and we'll also make this be very blue, which doesn't really change anything. Yeah, so we'll just change it back to normal. And what about if we make this more of a blue? Does look weird. We'll leave it as white, and then we'll go into our body sprite. By the end of it, I want to key in that. Then here, I want it to be a hologrammy blue, which can be something like this. And we're just going to drag its opacity down. So let's have a look at this. This can actually be less. I'll make it like 150 actually. I think that's pretty good. So then we're just going to recreate that for our other enemies, which is of course an easy process. Maybe what we'll do is we'll merge from scene, scenes, enemies, clone. We'll grab this. I'll see how much of it we need to rekey. What is this guy's original modulate now? I forget. Just go into our player and grab it. I believe we've got the same one. So jetpacker, Control C, Control V. Let's make this visible. That looks right. So we can delete this. Rename this to just spawn animator. Back to 2D. Then we'll paste in this. Then where we fade in the mask is where we're also gonna fade in the jetpack. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, so we also need this to be 0 over here. Yeah, I like that. That's not good. What happens if I control D and then I change this to something like this? Does it affect this one? No. Right. Merging from scenes can be a little weird at times. So let me just delete this. Control D. Delete the original. And here we want that red. What is it like? Pretty sure once again our player has like the same color. Which is rather handy. I think it's a little darker. Something like this. Now we'll use this red. So we can go into our spawn animator, and in here we can just change this back to how it was. And if we have a jetpack, we can delete that. Yeah, so that works, and this hopefully works independently. It does. Yeah, good stuff. So now we just gotta go into our marksman. We will delete this and merge from scene, clone, spawn animator. Drag it to the top, duplicate it, delete the original we merged, and change this name to spawn animator. Let's back in the player, I guess, for the yellow, because I made this mistake every time. Yeah, so we'll scroll down, change this to a yellow. Does this look mostly correct? Sure. I don't really care. And I'm just gonna want the gun sprite to fade in as well. So key that in. Drag this back to 0 and key it again over here. Let's see what happens. Pretty good. Just make sure that the clones and jetpacker still works the way we intended. Yeah, so we've got it autoplays that and auto starts in all of them. And this uses free. Let's have a look at it. I don't know how that person died. Oh, let's try this again, just because I didn't really get a good look. Something weird's going on there. The other two are fine. What is going on here? Is it just the dust? Because these two don't have dust. And it might just be the clone's dust. So where is our checking for F4 underground? Right here. So then we'll do and money spawn time dot is start, and then we will copy and paste this into here. Can you run it? It's still glitching a little. Let me go into our animation. Do we have something in here that says play? Well, I don't know what would be causing it. Interesting. Do I have an autoplay here? What if I turn idle to off? Go if spawn time dot is start animates, as there may be conflicting animations with this. I'll also do this. Just tab that forward. Otherwise, are there any timers that are auto starts that perhaps mess with it at all? I don't think so. If this doesn't fix it, I don't know. There we go. Okay. That's it for this video, I guess. Yeah. So we got Spawner, pretty useful. We can use that to start messing around with our enemy encounters. You can mess around with it on your own. I think I'm gonna start trying to get a bit more of a feel for the combat before I make future videos. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if you have any ideas for any enemies or platforming traps, then let me know. Or even if they're just stuff you want to put in a game you're making on the side, you can suggest it to me and then I can go through it, because if you're not quite sure what to do, then me going through it could help you out, even if you can't do the exact same thing because your game's built differently. But yeah, that's it for this video, so have a good day.